Welcome everyone to St Kilda Shule's Kabbalat Shabbat service. I'm Rabbi Hillel Nagel. We are now in the middle of Sfirat HaOmer. We're counting the 49 days between Pesach and Shavuot. Shavuot, the festival when we receive the Torah, and each year we renew our acceptance of the Torah as well. And there are 49 days, but the Vilna Gaon, the great Rabbi Eliyahu of Vilna, explains that there are actually 48 qualities or steps that a person needs in order to acquire the Torah and enjoy a successful and fulfilling life. And once we've worked on these 48 qualities, then we can reach 49 and then receive the Torah. Well, what are these qualities that he was talking about? They're mentioned in Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our fathers. We don't have time to go through them all, but they include amazing attributes like asking good questions and being able to listen, to have close friends, being able to have good discussions, having a good and kind heart, being a positive person. But the Vilna Gaon also tells us that it is humanly impossible for any one person to have all of these 48 qualities. But only while working together in a group and as part of a community, and work with people who lack qualities that we have or we don't have, we can achieve them as a team. When we work together, we can achieve them. By mastering the 48 steps, we obtain not only a deeper understanding of the Torah, but also a much greater appreciation of our own potential. This week we read a double sedra, a double parsha, Bahar B'chukotai. The second parsha, B'chukotai, starts with the words, Im B'chukotai Teilechu. Hashem tells us that if we follow His chukim, His laws and His Torah, then He will send much blessing and much success to us all. The Chidushei Harim, the grand rabbi of Ger, has two insights into these words. Firstly, he points out the words, Im b'chukotai teilechu, if you will go in my ways. It doesn't say if you keep my commandments, it says if you go or walk in the ways of the commandments. In other words, a person must continue to grow in his Torah knowledge and in his personal qualities. There's no such thing as standing still in one place and saying, I'm perfect. Either we are moving forward and upwards, or, God forbid, we are moving backwards and downwards. It's almost like when we try to walk up one of those downward escalators. We have to keep walking to get to the top. But if we stop on one of those downward elevators, we sink down. We keep going down. We can't stand still. A Jew has to keep walking. Secondly, says the Ger Rebbe, each person has a special and unique role in life. And we have to continue to strive to fulfill our own role. As the famous Rabbi Hillel once said, that's the other famous Rabbi Hillel, Im ein ani li mili. If I am not for myself, who will be for me? Which can mean that I have a job to do in life and no one else can do it for me. But Rabbi Hillel goes on to say, Ukshani la'atzmi ma'ani. But if I am for myself, what am I? I can't be by myself. I need a community to help me. We have to be part of a community, part of a group where we can all work together to grow and reach our own potential. These past 2 months have been tough. We've been at home, we've been alone, self-isolating from each other. But even though we've been far apart, one thing we've learned is that we have not really been alone. We've been in this together as a community. And Baruch Hashem, the restrictions have eased, and we hope that soon we'll be together with our families again and with our friends and of course in our shul. The message of the parsha is to keep on going, but let's keep going together. Wishing you a wonderful Shabbat, a good Shabbat with your families, and it's now my pleasure to pass over to Chazan Brakeh to lead the Kabbalat Shabbat service. Thank you for joining us.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Thank you, Rabbi Hillel, for those wonderful words. We're going to start our Friday night service, which is going to be an abridged Kabbalat Shabbat service. We're going to pick some of the favorites. We're going to start with Yedid Nefesh. Nefesh is a soul, a spirit, and it talks about the loving soul that descends on our lives and on our homes as Shabbat commences. So, doesn't matter if you know the words, you can hum along, sway along. Yedid Nefesh. Rachman, Yedid משוכבדך אל רצונך משוכבדך ניי 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 אל רצונך. You can waltz even. ירוץ עבדך כמו היה ישתחווה אליי ניי 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 אל מול עדרך ירוץ עבדך כמו היה ישתחווה אליי ניי 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 אל מול עדרך. I have an art scroll Siddur and I'm on page 308 with Lechuna Ranana. Lechuna Ranana is one of the Psalms that are found in the Tanakh, in the Bible, and according to tradition, the mystics in Tzvat, amongst other places, that beautiful place, I don't know if you've been, but one of my favorite places in Israel, on the top of the mountain in the Galilee, used to dress in their white clothes, and they used to go out on a Friday evening as the sun was setting, as they would welcome the Shabbat, Kabbalat Shabbat, as they would receive the Shabbat into their lives. And they would sing these psalms, and they would recite them together. Let's do one together. Hakod bedor Amnoi levanei Lo yidau derachai Asher nishvati Afi El menuchati El menuchati El menuchati. The next psalm on page 308, Shule Hashem, talks about singing to God, talks about the idea of expressing our love and devotion to Hashem through song. And with that in mind, I'm going to ask Corey in a minute to sing a very beautiful song that talks about our love for God and how we express our love through happiness, our devotion through happiness. Yismechu hashamayim, even the heavens will rejoice, v'tagel haaretz, and the ground. We're expressing not only our love for God, but also God's entire creation, the heavens and the earth. I'm going to ask Corey to sing this song that represents the essence of Shabbat, the oneg of Shabbat, the joy. Over to you, Corey.
Ay, 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 ay,
Thank you, Corey. That was truly awesome. Thank you very much. I'm on page 300 and, my eyes aren't what they used to be, 310 in the art scroll. Middle of the paragraph. Adonai malach tagel haaretz, yismechu im rabim. See if you recognize this tune. Oavei Adonai, Sinura, Shomer nafshot chasida, miad reshaim, yatzilei. Zaru ala tzadik, ul yishrelei v'simcha, simchot tzadikim b'Adonai v'hodu l'zecher kodesho. I think you got it. Page 312. Mizmor shiru l'Adonai shir chadash kiflaot asa. Niarot imcha ocha yachad arim yeraneinu lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz. Yishpot tevel b'tzedek, v'yamim meisharim, Adonai malach yirgezu amim, yoshev kruvim tanut haaretz. Adonai Eloheinu ata nitam, Pinokeim alalilotam romemo Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu li'aret kodesho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Page 314. Mizmor leDavid avol Adonai v'ne'elim avol Adonai kavod va'oz. These words are some of my favorite coming up now. Speaks about the voice of Hashem. Have a listen to these words. The voice of God frightens even the forests bare. While everybody proclaims glory Hashem as he sits enthroned, Hashem sits enthroned as king forever. Hashem will give might to his people. Most importantly, Hashem will bless his people with peace. Anna bekoach, bekoach, gedulat yemincha, yemincha, tati tzerura, kabel rinat amecha, sagavenu, taharenu, nora. One more time. Anna bekoach, bekoach, gedulat yemincha, yemincha, chati tzerura, kabel rinat amecha, sagavenu, taharenu, nora. Sagavenu, taharenu, nora. Sagavenu, taharenu, nora. That's our preparation meditation for Lecha Dodi as we welcome the Shabbat bride into our lives. Lecha Dodi on page 316. We'll mix up some of the tunes so we know. I think most of you know this one. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. All together. Lecha Dodi Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, yishmiya Moed hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, v'shemo letifefer litila. All together. Lecha Dodi Dodi, Lecha Dodi nikrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, ומצאים מתוך ההפכה, רב לך שבט בימי כבחה, והוא יכול עלייך חמלה. All together. לך, לך אני לא מודיל, לך אני נקרא כלה, בני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי נקרא כלה, בני שבת נקבלה.
Allayich nigla lecharu,
Kabbalah. We're going to go to the last verse of the Chadadi now, as we welcome the Shabbat Queen in peace. Boi v'shalom ateret balagam besimcha ובצלתו אמוני אבסגולה בואי חלה לחלום אידי לקראת קלה פני שבת פני שבת נקבלה פני שבת נקבלה פני שבת נקבלה. Let's sing together a song for peace. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום יעשה שלום ושלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום יעשה שלום שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's now my pleasure to ask Rabbi Glassman to present us with some words of inspiration and wisdom to lead us into Shabbat. Have a wonderful week and see you tomorrow night at Havdalah.
Thank you so much, Chazan Brett Kay, for the beautiful, beautiful singing. You and the choir and your entire team just do an amazing job every single week in inspiring the masses with the beautiful music of our traditions and our Kabbalat Shabbat service. I now have a wonderful opportunity to share with you a message. This is a message I think that is so unique and distinctive, and one that all of us can internalize and take to heart. It comes from the very final verses of the Torah portion this week. It speaks about the fascinating law of tithing the animals. If you have a farm, as many people did back in the day, and you've got a number of sheep, let's say, the 10th sheep to everyone born to you must be dedicated towards God. It was called the Maaser, or the tithing. And the verse makes the following very interesting stipulation, that once that 10th sheep comes along, lo yimirenu, it may not be replaced for another one. So once sheep number 10 comes out through a particular process that they had in those days, you couldn't take that sheep that was number 10 and say, well, I kind of like that one, so I'll keep that one for myself and I'll just replace it with a different one. The 10th one, that was its function, that was its role, and that was the one that was supposed to be dedicated towards God and not used for any other purpose. And the Hasidic masters teach us that this particular verse refers not only to animals in the bygone era, but it actually has a practical and contemporary relevance to each and every one of us today. It teaches us that we all have a particular divine purpose on this planet. God put us here for a reason. We cannot substitute it or replace it for anything else. That means to say that anyone who is on this planet has a role and a function. No one else can do that function. You can't take the person after you or the person before you and empower them to do your task. You and only you can do your task. I and only I can do my task. There is no way of substituting. There's a very interesting story. It actually originates as a children's story, but one which I think we can infer for everyone watching this video as well. The story is told by the Hasidic masters about a very wealthy businessman who went on a business trip back in the olden days when they traveled by horse and wagon. And the coachman, the person in charge of riding the horse to take him to his destination, was also Jewish. They were both Jewish, they were both religious, they both kept Shabbat, and they were traveling on a Friday. They arrived at a particular area in a city. The wealthy businessman took up beautiful accommodation in a plush hotel. The coachman, according to his means, went into a very humble motel. And they both had very generous hearts. They both made their way to synagogue on the eve of Friday for the Kabbalat Shabbat service. And the wealthy businessman, on his way to Shule, notices that a poor fellow who was also a coachman, a wagon driver, a different fellow, got his wagon stuck in the mud. So he had a heart of gold and he decided to go and try and help. And he tried to schlep the wagon out of the mud, and in the end he was not able to succeed. He just didn't have the physique or the strength to do it. He had no experience dealing with wagons or knowing how to get them out of the mud, and all that ended up happening is he ended up coming to Shul filthy with mud all over his suit. Meanwhile, the coachman, who was not of particular means, got to Shul looking as good as he possibly could. He noticed a group of paupers who were in Shul that night and didn't have a place to eat for Shabbat. So he went to offer them a meal, a place to eat, an invitation, and they went with him. The problem was that because he was not of means, he only had enough food to give to his own family or just for himself because he was traveling. He didn't have enough food to feed all of his guests. So they all went home after the meal extremely hungry. And it turned out that the wealthy person went home, had a meal which was so lavish that he had enough leftovers to feed an army. So the wealthy one should have actually been the one to invite the people over to his house for the meal so everyone could eat and walk home satiated and full. Whereas the wagon driver should have been the one to help the poor other wagon driver whose wagon got stuck in the mud. We're talking about two people who had beautiful hearts and the best intentions of the world and the greatest altruism, but they didn't know what they were supposed to do, what their function was at that particular time. It is a blessing to have clarity as to who we are and what is our function and purpose in this world. But it is equally a blessing to remember always that no one else, not a single other human being that ever existed before you, or a single human being that will ever exist after you, can do your role. You and only you can do your role. And that is God's message to each of us now. So let us embrace that message. Let us think and contemplate what it is that we're supposed to be doing in this world, particularly in the context of our Judaism. What mitzvah, what tradition, what ritual, what commandment, what element of our faith talks to us the most? Where does our heart lie? And when we find that, let's excel in that. Let's try and propel ourselves to be the best possible version of me or you that we can possibly be, because no one else, not a single other person, can do your job. Only you can do that. With that, I wish you and yours a wonderful Shabbat.